Their magic must be very powerful, or she wouldn't want them so badly. You stay out of this, Glinda, or I'll fix you as well. Oh, rubbish. You have no power here. Be gone before somebody drops a house on you. Very well.
Down there already.
Look at that.
Well, once we're after
Pennies on the dollar.
the inauguration,
Getting rid of border.
But it's shocking to me that I saw several articles today, and actually an ad. They're selling these things pennies on the dollar of what the taxpayers pay for. So they're, again, here's an example of them just trying to put us in a bad position and not have that equipment available to us.
I had no choice. My grandfather come down from heaven if I didn't do this. Excuse me, I have a little bit of a cold, and I'm honored. I'm honored to be joined today by leaders of character and conscience.
That ain't no cold, that's a death rattle.
Excuse me, for black women.
Wait.
First of all, wait.
Purpose and integrity. And one hell of a cackle. And she always will. I tell you, you're not going anywhere, kid. Especially not the White House. 'Cause you're lost.
Woo, woo, woo. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Put on the brakes, put on the brakes. Welcome, welcome, boys and girls, children of all ages, hoofties, pufties, bunghide heifers, right and left wing wackos, woodchucks, and chuckettes, kings and queens of the Northeast Kingdom, to another version of It's News to Us. And you are watching, let's see, oop, wow, sensitive mic there. You are watching It's News to Us, where Newport's oldest TV news. Watch us now, Newport, Vermont, that is, up here in the Northeast Kingdom. Yeah, how now brown cow, is the local say. And all hail the cadaver-in-chief. Oh, Philo was nice enough to put in a couple clips. We got a tail end of an old Joe clip from Tom Shalhoub on Gutfeld show, and also Joe having coughing fits. My goodness, man, he sounds like a 2-pack a day, man.
He sounds almost as bad as Smiling Mike.
Yeah. Yeah, I was telling Philo, I saw Smiling Mike down at the store last week. It was like old home week, and here we are. Senile agitation, get off my lawn. There he is again, right there. Old Joe, he's a moving mighty slow. And, you know, they're sending more stumbling blocks out there. They just, those morons from the Ukraine just blew up some friggin' Russian general, or brigadier general or whatever, with a, they blew him up with a motor scooter, electric scooter. Well, we don't know. It could have been the electric scooter on its own, right, Philo?
Yeah, it was detonated at a distance, I guess.
Yeah, because they were filming it. But anyways, they'd better knock it off because, you know, you stop trying to get us into World War III. It's not going to work. Trump is dedicated to peace. That's why they hate him. And okay, we've got a whole bunch of websites here because it's going to be a long couple of weeks, and I know, you know, you're stuck with your family. So here's some websites to get stories that you might not usually see. Everything from the Biden laptop is on marcopolousa.org. And the real climate facts you can get at Climate Depot. And let's see, we got some more on the back of this one. Yeah, we got here openthebooks.com. Those are the guys that open the books. They're the ones that highlight the government waste and fraud. That's crazy. Gateway Pundit and Revolver.news, they're the ones that got everything from soup to nuts, A to Z, on the January 6th farce, and we'll cover that shortly. And Government Accountability Project.com, they're another good one too. And oh my God, here's some more. There's a whole bunch of them here for you. Breitbart, War Room. War Room's about the best too, man. For those of you just who don't want to read or anything, you can just put on War Room or link to it through Rumble and get it and just watch it and listen to them yap like I do here, only a little more in depth. That Natalie, what's her face? She's really good.
Natalie Wood?
Yeah, no, not quite. She's got long blonde hair. She's a cute little skipper. She just graduated with honors from Chicago University or something, and went to work for Bannon. Go figure. So there you are. There's plenty of websites out there, and like I said, you can click on them or just listen to them. Speaking of which, I was watching reviewing my show last week or whatever, Philo.
Yeah.
And after my show was over, I was in the kitchen doing something, so I didn't have time to shut it off. But it flipped right to Ted Cruz.
Yeah, it's probably on YouTube. It goes from one to another.
Yeah, well, Ted Cruz, it was from it was a day old, where he was grilling somebody in the Senate chambers, and
hope he did a medium well.
Yeah. Well, Ted Cruz. He said that he's got the face that you'd love to hit. Oh God, I can't. I wrote it down here somewhere. Oh, here it was. Ted Cruz from. He's on YouTube from 12/10/24 last week. He was grilling the ICE people, and he had the numbers. There's 650,000 ICE non-detainee that are criminals that are non-detained, and these are convicted criminals too. Oh, by the way, I found my hat. It wasn't in the studio, and although I hid it, I hid it because the last time Jaws got a hold of it, she chewed off the ball, and it's not like I could sew it back on and reattach it because she ate it. I mean, the dog ate it. You know, that old thing, the dog ate my homework? That's Jaws out there.
I like the name you gave. I think that's very appropriate.
Yeah, Jaws with paws.
Goodness.
I'd like to get a cartoonist or somebody do a sinister looking dog with their arms crossed.
Todd can draw.
Yeah.
Todd does his own weekly cartoon, you know.
Yeah. That would be good. It would be fun to have we could put it up there with the Minuteman logo.
Yeah, absolutely.
So anyways, 650,000 criminals non-detained, 14,944 convicted of homicide, Philo.
Yep.
20,061 for sexual assault, 105,146 for regular assault, 60,268 for burglary or robbery, 3,372 for kidnapping, 3,971 for commercialized sexual offenses. Whatever commercialized sexual offenses are, I didn't quite get that one, Philo.
Human trafficking.
Yeah, it's got to be something like that. But anyways, and last week we found out that there were 26 FBI agents. Well, they weren't agents because they were on the clock at January 6th. They were in the crowd. Whether they were egging people on or whatever, we don't know because they won't tell us. And they're probably not going to tell us until Christopher Wray is headed out the door and finally gets a boot in the ass off the government private jet that he's been using for the last 8 years or something.
Think they'd let us use it?
Pardon me?
Think they'd let us use it?
Oh, he has been using it.
No, us, you and me.
Oh, yeah, that'd be great, wouldn't it?
Hey.
Supposedly, we could get a complimentary flight by if we called up Book-A-Jet, B-A-G, Philo.
Huh.
They didn't say what the criteria is, but yeah, they have a couple companies, Book-A-Jet, Book-A-Limo, stuff like that. So there were 26 of them in the crowd dressed as Trump supporters, according to an inspector general who came out with his report 4 years later and a month after the election. Not that it mattered because the American people had finally got fed up with these pukes and their men can play sports as women and all this crazy crap. The American people just got fed up, tossed it out the window anyways. So in these you can see at Gateway Pundit and Revolver.news, gatewaypundit.com. And 17 committed crimes, Philo.
No kidding.
23 came to D.C. on their own, according to the Inspector General. 3 of them entered the Capitol. 11 entered restricted areas. 12 of the 16 feds were at the Whitmer kidnapping. Remember during COVID, the Whitmer kidnapping in Michigan?
No, I don't. Oh, the governor.
Yeah.
Yeah, got that one. Yep.
Yeah, 3/4 of the people in that kidnapping plot were FBI paid informants and agents. It's crazy. Yeah, 12 of 16 feds were at the Whitmer kidnapping. They called them confidential human sources versus employees. And I.G. Horowitz took him 4 years for this 88-page baloney report, or BS report, as we know what BS stands for. It's baloney.
Bologna sandwiches, right?
Pardon me?
Bologna sandwiches.
Yeah, exactly. Bologna sandwiches is right. And 88-page report. And they don't mention where Epps is, the guy that was, he tried to get people to break the law, and everybody in the crowd was yelling, Fed, 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 and pointing at him and going, Fed, 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 because he was trying to get him to do stuff. And remember 60 Minutes had a segment on Roy Epps, or Ray Epps, whatever the hell his name is, and how he was such a nice guy, and butter wouldn't melt in his mouth, and is just a hell of a guy.
Absolutely.
Pardon me?
Absolutely.
Yeah, great guy. Yeah, he's got a big old ranch out in Arizona somewhere. I guess he must have married into money or something. He retired very well, Philo.
That's what I want to do.
Yeah. No mention of Epps, no mention of the guy known as Scaffold Commander, which you can see him up on the scaffolding directing people to do different stuff. And I think he even has a bullhorn, Philo.
Huh.
The Scaffold Commander. And there's another guy called Fence Cutter, and he's up there with bolt cutters, cutting holes in fences and disconnecting them and egging people into the Capitol. Nothing about those two guys. Nothing about the Capitol cops. No mention of whether there were other assets there from the ATF, FBI, Secret Service, Homeland Security, maybe more. And what do they do when they're doing faster jury trials? They're running like a conveyor belt to get these guys convicted just for being there, or not even being there in some instances, like with the Proud Boys and the Oath Keepers. And there were 4 or 5 just last week, according to Real Clear Investigations, and they were jailed. And there are some notorious weasels like Matthew Graves. He's the D.C. district attorney. He's the same one that jailed Steve Bannon and Peter Navarro, Philo.
Oh, that I don't see as a bad thing.
Well, yeah, Bannon could look better. I mean, he could take a shower and shave once in a while.
He is, to me, he looks like he's just waiting to get convicted of something.
He does look like a dumpster diver. I'll give you that, Philo.
However, this thing with Trump, though, it's gotten to the point of ridiculous. It's like Chris Cuomo said, it's ridiculous because there's nothing to the charges.
Yeah.
Cuomo actually said he thought it would be a hung jury.
And that Judge Marchand, he's trying to railroad Trump on these charges. He won't drop them, even though the Supreme Court has said. The Supreme Court came right out and said, "Look, no, he's got immunity for all acts as president." No, just like a judge can't be held liable unless we'll see with a couple cases, but he's just going balls to the wall, man. It's crazy.
Yep.
And this witch, Judge Beryl Howell, she's a hostile judge. And there's another judge in D.C. named Royce Lambert, Philo. He's a Reagan appointee, 81 years old, and he sleeps in court, and they wake him up to sentence the people.
Well, I suppose he's got to do something for his paycheck, doesn't he?
10 years. It's like George Jessel in that Jake Isles song, Judge Sure Is Funky. Where are you from, son? I'm from the Bronx, Your Honor. Is that so? I sentence you to 10 years. Yeah, it's crazy. He sleeps in court, and this other one is Tim Kelly, Ahmet Mehta. They deny due process. The Proud Boys and the Oath Keepers were the first people to be convicted of seditious conspiracy since the Blind Sheikh, the one who masterminded the first World Trade Center bombing or something.
95, right?
Yeah, something like that. They got 16 years and 22 years, and they weren't even there, Philo. They weren't even there. And the ones that were there, that were actually there, the handful that were actually in the crowd, they can be seen helping the cops with the crowd.
Well, somebody had to pick a fight with the cops. I saw people fighting with the cops. Had to be somebody.
Yeah, I wonder if they were other cops, if they were Antifa. They have ways around that, just like they have ways to grab the cell phone records of the people that left the pipe bombs at the RNC and DNC. But it's funny, some people are just untouchable, Philo.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, and look, I gotta open this up. I found this on the table, and it's wrapped so it's wrapped so nice. I hate to ruin the.
Don't
paper.
forget, there's a card on the front.
Yeah. Okay.
Just remember, it was my wife who wrapped that.
Oh man, I was hoping I could. She would make some more cookies.
Well, she did.
Those cookies last year were awesome.
Yeah, she's. Did I tell you she's having a procedure next week?
Yeah, thank goodness. Thank goodness. Heart stuff is like wicked.
It's a good thing that Dr. Hayes came back. They had to beg him to come back, Well,
I worry about this hospital up here sometimes, Philo. I really do.
Well, of course, he's the man. I mean, you have good doctors, and then you've got the doctors that need, that do the stuff.
Yeah, and you have doctors, which we won't name, who don't play well with others, and some of them are good. Real good, and they're cocky, and they don't play well with others, so they get ostracized and kicked off the playground. All right, well, look at this. Get that on there. Happy Paula Days.
I was thinking of you and Jaws out there.
Yeah. She almost jumped out of her skin at the post office earlier.
No kidding. What happened there?
Oh man, I left an address on the countertop in there, and the girl came out to bring it to the car. I didn't need it. She could have just thrown it away, but she didn't know that. And so next thing you know, I see the dog in my lap. The dog's in my lap. Her tail's going a mile a minute, and then she's got her head sticking out the window. And I'm all like, oh my God, here we go. Now, what the hell's going on now? And so I look up, and it's the girl from the post office. And the dog is going absolutely nuts, like it's the first person she's ever seen in her entire life.
Yeah, dogs like that are very, very high-strung.
Well, you know, I've owned and bred Jack Russells for, oh God, 20 years, 25, almost 30 years, and they usually grow out of it within a year or two.
Not this one.
Not this one, or not the other one that I wound up giving to Chrissy. Oh, speaking of which, I have to, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention this, but for those of you who are fans of the first show, I mean that the first show I did with Charlie, the first show I did with Charlie has got something like 10,000 views on YouTube.
Oh yeah, it's got a lot. I can look it up if you want.
It doesn't matter. It's a lot. It's a lot because they featured it on these real crime shows. You know what I mean?
Yep. Killer Couples, I think it was called.
Yeah, and because 20 minutes after we did the first show, my buddy's wife friggin' ran him into a pine tree at 60 miles an hour and killed him. Because she knew he was legally blind. He never wore a seatbelt, never wore a seatbelt. And she figured she could get $100,000 worth of friggin' insurance, life insurance. Okay, oh my God, look at this. Wow, thanks, Philo. God, I'll have to dig out my turntable now. You know, I'm getting to the point, Philo, where I thank you very much, where I've got to, I think I'm going to have to compartmentalize my stereo, all the old analog stuff, right?
Yeah.
And keep that separate, and then have digital for the TV. Hendrix in the West, 2 LPs.
You know, I never saw that before either, but when we were we were down in North Carolina at this. By the way, this T-shirt that I have on right here, Citizen Vinyl, in Asheville.
Yeah.
I saw that, a used copy of that, and that was 2 days before the flood hit.
Well, I'll be damned.
And I said, "Hey, why don't I get a new copy?" I'd never seen that before either.
You rescued it.
No, I didn't buy that one. I got that one from Amazon.
Oh, no, I've seen it. I think a buddy of mine had it on freaking 8-track.
No kidding.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much, Philo.
I think that's the heavier vinyl too. I think it's not the 80 gram. It's like the 100. Oh, I'm sorry, 60 gram versus 100 gram.
Wow. Oh, you know what? You remember that bluegrass album I had you transferred from vinyl to disc?
Yeah.
You know what? My buddy, I knew these guys. They're called Traver Hollow, and Traver, Traver, Hollow, Hollow, and you can still see their live performance in Belgium or Holland. I think it's Holland, on YouTube. And man, they had, what happened was, I was working at this tool and die shop in Leominster, Mass. It was a mold making shop where they made plastic injection molds. And I was out playing harmonica on the loading dock one time, and and this guy come out and he says, how long have you been playing that? And I said, oh, since I was about 5 years old. So he says, you know, he says, how'd you like to come down and jam with me and my bluegrass buddies? And I said, sure. And then where at? He says in Dudley. It's outside of Worcester. I said, yeah, I know where it is. I said, great. So we went down there, and it was like on a Sunday. Me and God, what's the guy's name? Oh, it'll come to me. But anyways, this guy, he was deaf, Philo, until he was like 5 years old.
Yeah.
Totally deaf, learned sign language and everything. And then they did a surgery on him when he, like I said, when he was 5 years old, and he got his hearing back.
Excellent.
And he played the violin and the fiddle. And then, for some reason, he got sick of the violin, the fiddle, and he picked up a guitar, and he began flat picking, which is a trip in itself. And anyways, I went down to play with this band, and all of us were, I was probably 22, 23. The guitar player was probably 28, 30, he was married. And the rest of the band was in their 20s, I'd say, right? And this kid that played the banjo, it was like the Jimi Hendrix of the banjo, Philo. I'd never seen anyone, except for Earl Scruggs, right?
Oh, of course.
I'd never seen anyone play the banjo like this kid. He was 16, 17 at the time. And you know what his name was?
What's that?
Danny Manzioni.
Oh, wow. Oh.
Manzioni. I think he spelled it with a Z. And it's weird to think that he might be related to that wacko who shot the executive in New York last week. But anyways, one thing led to another. I don't know. I got sick of that job, or I got sick of New England again, so I moved back out to San Diego in '79, and I didn't think anything of it. And then my dad got sick, so I moved back east, and I got married in '87, and my wife, she was into like country western music, right?
That alone is grounds for divorce, you know.
Yeah. Oh, sure. It's mostly we had a rock and roll. It was our, both of us. But then we used to listen to bluegrass on this station out of Worcester every Saturday morning. So then next thing you know, we started going to bluegrass concerts, and they're always cheap. It's family friendly. The tickets are ultra cheap. It's always a good time had by everyone. So anyways, I'd forgotten all about it. We're talking 10, 15 years had gone by. And we're down at this bluegrass show down in, I don't know, somewhere near Boston. It was near the place where they have the jousting and stuff like that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the Renaissance Fair.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're down there, and they says, oh, by the way, stage right, Traver Hollow will be playing. So I went over there, and I was sitting in the audience, and Danny recognized me, and he says to me, he says, do you have any harmonicas with you? I said, oh, of course, I always do. So he said, meet up with us afterwards. He says, we'll meet you over there under the trees, So we went over there, after he did their set, and we had a bust-out session, and I wound up jamming with Traver Hollow again. It was just an interesting little aside there. But anyways, back to the news that isn't the news that is the news.
That could have been, but really never made it.
Yeah. So the FBI lied regarding the pipe bombers, according to Revolver. Oh, Kat Timpf. I love this. This is a quote from Kat Timpf, Philo. She says, one thing that men and women have in common, they both hate women.
Well, I can tell you, without mentioning any names, I saw it here, and I saw it at the shop. There are some women that cannot work with other women.
Yeah.
They can't.
Yeah. I don't know what it is.
It was this very beautiful woman at the shop. Her name was Teresa. And when it came to guys, she loved them. But other women, she had very few lady friends. She just did not like women, period.
Oh, yeah. And, they just gave, supposedly, between 720 million or another 2 billion to Zelensky on the way out. Joe Biden is shoveling money at these people. It's crazy.
2 billion.
Is
2 billion last night, I heard.
Yeah, it's crazy. And supposedly we're giving 40 million a week to the Taliban in Afghanistan, Philo.
Taliban, can I help you?
Yes, Taliban, can I help you? I've been racking up more of these stupid third worlders that are calling me up with the scams lately.
I hope you're having fun.
Yeah, I have been having fun, and I've been recording them, and they don't like it too. The latest scam is about we understand you were in an accident within the last 2 years. Were you in an accident that was not your fault? And I say, yes. I string them along, yes. And could you describe the accident, please? And I said, yeah, I was up at the light in Derby, and I was sitting in the lane with my blinker on, ready to take a left-hand turn, and this guy was on his camel right next to me. And when the light changed to green, he just swung his camel right into my front fender, and now the front fender toe is all big and puffy. And I string them along, and they usually hang up on me. And some of them now are getting wise to me. They as soon as they hear my voice, they'll hang up. But other ones I can string along. They're scraping the bottom of the barrel. They're getting really hard to understand. Their English skills are horrible.
I like the one that used to call me, and he goes, "Hello, my name is John." Of course it is.
Yeah.
Of course it is.
No, your name is Mujibar or Sirajul.
Or Muhammad, and Muhammad.
Yeah, or Vivek. Or Vivek, whatever. Oh, man. Have you seen that ACL lawyer that used to be a girl? You got to look this guy up, a girl up, whatever the heck it is.
Is that the one you showed me before the show?
Was it?
There was one there that was...
no, that was the new ad guy.
Oh, okay, never mind.
No, this one's name is it's ACL attorney. It calls itself Chase Strangio. And Strangio it is. You hear it talking, and you can tell it's a woman. For some reason, the hormones didn't drop its voice down at all. But then you see the video of it, and it's got a mustache. I mean, it's still got the little boy girlish features, and it's got a little teeny mustache and a little sprig of beard along its chin line, and it's like, what the hell, man? Chase Strangio, whatever, as long as but they're still pushing this stuff on kids, even though they banned, what the hell is it? They banned the puberty blockers in England recently.
Well, it's about friggin' time.
Yeah, the England and the Scandinavian countries, because they said that's it. We're all done, man.
Can you imagine the outrage? Remember the outrage about giving the little girl gymnasts puberty blockers so they could stay flexible and compete in the Olympics more? Remember that?
It's sick.
Huh? Yeah. And this was going on, and we were outraged over that. But look at what we're doing now.
Yeah.
This isn't even in the name of sport.
Yeah. I brought this in. This is a real one. Like I said, it's the leather's old and dry and half rotted.
Just like us.
Yeah, that describes me to a T. But the bells are all bronze. These are made into USA, man, in the old days. And it's meant to go around a horse, and the horse must have had a real big neck. Because I don't know if you can see it. Let's see. Oh, it broke. I think it sounds like spring peepers, Philo.
Not bad.
Yeah. So that's made to go around a horse. A big, either the horse's neck or belly. Whoa, Betsy, whoa. Imagine living in the old days when you wanted to go somewhere, you had to get out you had put on all the tack on the horse and hook it up to a wagon or a sleigh. I mean, everything took a little bit longer, a little slower. It reminds me of the Mennonites, what do you call them there? The Amish.
Yeah.
They're moving into Troy. There's a couple of farms that they bought down off Route 100 down there, Philo.
Well, I saw one on my way over to Burlington with the wife here a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
And they had one that was coming right towards me. And of course, I slowed right down. I give them plenty of room. And now they've got taillights on their carriages.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know why they didn't do that before.
Well, it depends. It's like I said, some of the Mennonites, they can have, like you got black bumper Mennonites, they can have chrome, and other ones, they can have a little generator that goes on the wagon wheel. And the generator has, charges a battery, and the battery has lights on the buggy.
Yep, of course.
On some of them. That's the difference between the Amish and the Mennonites. It's a slight difference.
There's also the Mennonite men can dress like modern secular men.
Huh.
And the women can't. Because I asked one of them one time, this woman, it was a long time ago, I asked her what religion this was, and she said Mennonites. I said, and her husband was just like you and me.
I'll be damned.
Yeah, she was cute.
Yeah, they had the black bumper Mennonites down in the Lehigh Valley. They could drive a car. They could drive a car, but they they sanded and painted the chrome black.
Huh.
Because the chrome was too ostentatious.
Wow. They haven't been around lately, have they?
Yeah. All cars look the same now, and they hardly have any chrome.
Yeah, they're mostly plastic now.
Yeah, it's crap. Oh, yeah, and you want to talk about regulations. Now, this is a difference. Thank God. Trump is saying now, he said, never mind, for every new regulation, they have to get rid of 4 old regulations, Philo?
Yep.
Well, now he's saying it's 10. For every new regulation, they got to get rid of 10 old regulations. And here's the reason. That's the reason that they haven't been able to build that high-speed rail from L.A. to San Francisco out in California, Philo.
Yep.
It's been over 4 years, right? They've spent over $11 billion, and they don't have not more than something like 10 or 20 miles ready for track because of lawsuits and all these regulations, environmental regulations. Could you imagine what would have happened if we didn't have if we had these environmental regulations 150 years ago? There would be no coast-to-coast railroad. You know what I mean?
Yep.
It's just nuts. Yeah. Oh, and we spent $3 billion, over $3 billion, on 93 electric mail trucks. Yay! And they were made by an outfit called Oshkosh Defense, which supposedly is a Democratic donor, Philo.
It doesn't surprise me.
Yeah. Oh, and they busted 2 Chinamen at the Vandenberg Space Base a while ago. One of them had a drone, and the other one had the drone controls on them. They were separated, but they were flying the drone over the space base.
Yeah, I heard they arrested him in California, was it?
Yep.
Headed back for China.
Nothing to see here. Nope. Go about your business. Oh, and Dick Van Dyke turned 99 last week.
Yeah.
He just made it out of his Malibu house before he got burned to death. He was like crawling on his hands and knees, he said. And you know what Mary Tyler Moore used to call him, Philo?
What's that?
Penis Van Lesbian.
Really?
Yeah. Instead of Dick Van Dyke. Who said she didn't have a sense of humor?
Yeah, I think the two of them were really bad alcoholics at one time.
Yeah. Oh, and the Secret Service fired 6 shots. I think I sent you that article.
Yep.
6 shots at the that Ruth guy at close range at Mar-a-Lago and didn't hit him. You know, talk about embarrassing, Philo. No wonder they didn't mention it until now. You know what I mean?
Either that or they wanted to capture him.
Yeah, well, thank God that lady got his plate number. Imagine if they'd shot at the guy and hit the lady who got his plate number.
Yeah. Yep.
Good going. Yeah, I guess they didn't spend much time at the range, or maybe you don't need to qualify as long as you've got the right skin color or your sexual orientation or something.
Oh, you mean like what's his face there? I can't think of his name, and every time I try to think of his name, I can't think of it. Sam Brinton.
Oh yeah, the nuclear waste guy.
I think he got involved in a little too much of it. You think?
Yeah, he was crazy. He was crazy. Yep. Oh, and Trump sued ABC for little Steffi Stephanopoulos.
Oh,
And,
George Steppenfetch-a-lot?
Yeah, Steppenfetch-a-lot. He had to come out. $15 million. They forked over to Trumpster.
But what I don't understand is why is he suing this retired woman from the Des Moines Register?
Oh, because we're done with this stuff, Philo. It actually, she was. It's an in-kind contribution to the Democratic National Committee, is what it is. You know what I mean? By her doing that poll when she knew it was wrong. Okay. By her doing that poll, it went all around the planet, not just around the country, but around the planet, and everybody. It just captured the news for a week before the election. Chris
Cuomo says that was a good thing for Trump. And why was it a good thing? Because it got the Republicans out to vote. Because if they said Trump was ahead, they wouldn't have bothered. They say, "Oh, we got this, no problem."
Yeah, it's hard telling, not knowing. It's like you know, how many people wouldn't have voted for Biden if they knew that the laptop was for real, you know?
Well, that's the whole thing. I just think he needs. I mean, this woman is nobody.
Yeah.
She's a nobody.
Well,
and she's even retired.
She writes for she did the poll for the Des Moines Register.
Yeah.
So I think they're the ones getting sued.
No, she is.
Because they got published. Well, anyways, they'll see. I'm sure she's insured.
Yeah.
But he's suing 60 Minutes also because they screwed up, Philo. They did that thing with Camelback Harris, and completely they asked her a question and she came out and just did some word salad and, you know, puked up a bowl and sprinkled some salad oil on it, and they yanked it and inserted a completely different answer. But anyways, the press, we have to rely. If you're going to call yourself the press, if you have a real news division, like I'm an opinion journalist, you know what I mean? I cover breaking stories and broken stories and some news, but you know from the get-go that this is an opinion show, okay? But if we're going to have real news outlets, you know, there has to be consequences for them to put up crap. And if you don't know, if you're unsure of a story, all you have to do is say, we're not sure about this, okay? Or our sources say, you know, but we haven't pinned it down. There's a million escape clauses, you know what I mean?
Yeah. You know that story that came out that RFK Jr. is trying to squash all polio vaccines?
Oh, yeah, that's crazy.
Well, Chris Cuomo had a whole segment on it, and it had nothing to do with RFK Jr.
No.
And what he wants tested is this last, I can't think what it's called. It's called Ivol or something like that.
The only one that uses a live virus.
And they only tested it for 3 days.
If that's the thing. That's all he's asking for, is that they test these vaccines like they test any other drug, I'm pretty sure.
But they made it sound like he wanted to ban the Salk polio vaccine and this.
It's
and
crazy.
And he had nothing to do with any of that.
Yeah. Well, you and I, when we were kids, we got the live virus.
Yeah, we got the Salk, right?
Yeah.
In the 1950s.
Yeah, 50s and 60s. And I don't think they didn't start using the dead virus, I think, until like the 70s. I could be wrong. I'm not sure.
And the other thing that he's questioning is, way back then when they had the Salk, I think we ended up with what, one vaccine, and by 1985 or 86, we were still only getting 1, 2, 3, or 4 of these things. Now they're getting like a dozen every 3 or 4 months. They're just shoving these vaccines on everybody.
Oh yeah, and at a very young age. That's the whole thing that he was bitching about. In Canada, from what I understand, now I'm not a doctor and I don't prescribe or give medical advice.
And we're not Canadians.
Yeah, we're not Canadians, but I'm pretty sure that in Canada they allow you to get the measles, mumps, and rubella as separate vaccines with like weeks or months in between.
Right.
While in the USA, from what I understand, and I could be wrong, in the USA, they jam them in all in the same friggin' dose, and they give it to very young kids.
Yep.
Not even toddlers yet. Yeah, it's crazy. They're trying to burn down RFK Jr.
And the other thing, too, is we've got all these vaccines. They're getting pushed on all our kids, and yet our kids are sicker than ever.
Oh, yeah.
Sicker than ever.
Yeah.
And it's like, all your vaccines must be crap because there's something else wrong here.
Yeah, well, that was in the news conference that Trump had. What was it, Monday? I think it was Monday. He had a news conference that went for over an hour, and the reporters tried to bait him on the RFK question, and they're all like, what about the vaccines and autism, and Trump kept his cool, Philo.
Which is what he's got to do. He's got to stay cool and do this right.
Yep. I'm telling you, this is a different Trump than the one we had 8 years ago. I'm
very glad of that, because if anybody's going to do anything, he will, but he can't be a blowhard like he was.
Yeah. And so they tried, I saw him laying that trap, and I'm thinking, don't step in it. And he said, look, something's up. He said, we're going to have to find out what it is. He says, but you look at the autism rates from now to what they were 20 years ago, to what they were 40 years ago. Mm-hmm. He said, something's up, and we should get to the bottom of it. Is there something wrong with that? And he pushed it right back on the reporter, Philo. It was great.
That's what they need, because some of these guys they're useless.
They're deep state shills.
Yep, no, I wouldn't doubt that at all.
Yeah, well, they're getting paid more, I think, than besides just the outlet that hired them. Yeah, so Biden lifted the Iran sanctions of $20 billion, gave them to play around. Yeah, we got 900 plus U.S. troops in Syria. They bombed 75 ISIS positions, they said. ISIS targets were bombed by CENTCOM on December 8th, Philo.
I heard about that, yeah.
Yeah. They used B-52s, which are B-52s were built when Philo and I were kids. Think about that, boys and girls.
They were also abandoned in the late 70s.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyways, they Rock Lobster.
And we were adults when that came out, so you know how old we are, folks.
Yeah, it's crazy. And they used ancient planes, but they still work good. That's one that you can't knock them out of the sky. B-52s, F-15s, and A-10s. A-10s, the same thing. The Pentagon wanted to scrap them. Remember, Philo?
Yep, I do.
They said, oh no, nobody's fighting tank warfare anymore. We don't need them A-10 warthogs. They're no good. We don't need them.
If there was ever a good warthog, that was the one.
Yeah. They said, well, we need a new joint strike fighter. It's like, no, man, that A-10 works just fine. And they're damn near bulletproof, too.
Yep.
And so anyways, oh, get this. This guy Burns, who was in the CIA, he works for or used to work, or works now, for the Carnegie Center, which is a left-wing outfit that takes money from China, supposedly. Sullivan and Blinken, the ones that are supposedly running the show, because Biden doesn't know where the hell he is anymore. He's toast. What's his name? James O'Keefe came out with a video last week. You can find that on O'Keefe Media Group, Philo. O'Keefe Media Group, he came out, and there's a guy from inside the White House. He identifies himself and stuff, but it's an undercover video, and he says that Biden is 10 times worse than anyone can believe. Sullivan and Blinken, they've been removing Trump-era tech bans, and this guy Chris Krebs, a tech guy, he was on MSNBC, and they explained how Biden's people helped censor War Room off Spotify and YouTube, right? But yet you can get the China Daily newspaper on any newsstand in Washington D.C.
Alrighty.
Yeah, you can get a Chinese newspaper in our capital, but War Room is censored on Spotify and YouTube.
Ain't democracy great?
Yeah. Well, there's an article here. I still haven't got to it from last week about taxpayer-funded censorship. And and they passed another continuing resolution today. They're gonna put off working on the budget until March. So we're running off a Pelosi friggin' sandwich. It's crazy, man. It's crazy. They need to sit down and do the damn budget. You want to wait till Trump comes in? Good. Then you should have had the continuing resolution until January, not until March. Anyways, they printed 8 to 10 trillion, which resulted, which when it ripples its way through the economy, turns into 40 trillion. Now, do you remember a trillion even being a number when we were kids, Philo?
Nope. You were rich if you were a thousandaire back then.
Yeah. A trillion, man. Nobody talked about trillion. A billion was a big friggin' number back then. So this 40 trillion in the economy, where is it? And we got new airports and runways. We got a few new bridges maybe, but we don't see it. We got 10 million we got 10 million employees and contractors that are working for the government, Philo. We got they want 4.5 trillion to 6 trillion to run the blob or the machine. We've got 113 million troops or something. No, it can't be. It's got to be 113,000 troops or 140 countries. We got 25,000 troops in Korea, 30,000 in Germany. Oh, and then we got only 5 to 10% of the people, government employees, actually show up for work. That's another thing. Trump's saying, look, you're going to have the chance. You can either show up to work at your office in Washington, D.C. They say that Washington, D.C. is like a ghost town, Philo.
I'm not surprised. Everyone's working remotely now.
Yeah, so they say. You're working remotely. Only 5 to 10% show up. They got 47,000 government employees were given a waiver by Joe Biden that they don't have to return to the offices. Now, they're shoveling money out the window, and they're shoveling benefits and money to their union buddies. Oh, and the mass motels for these friggin' flops. The motels are cleaned by Brazilian immigrants, Philo.
Yep.
And the Brazilian immigrants are pissed because these Haitians that are coming in there are wicked slobs, and they have to clean up after them at damn near like minimum wage. And they get child tax credits, even though they don't work. See, that in Bernie, this is disingenuous of Bernie. Bernie says, "Well, child tax credits should keep a lot of people, children out of poverty." Well, of course it does. It's a welfare check. The parents don't. It's not like the parents are out working and they get a tax credit for having kids. No, they get a check for having kids. It's just called the child tax credit.
Okay, Steve, last but not least, and this is your last show of the year.
Okay, yeah. So for they get 2 years rent to get a new place, at $30,000 for every Haitian. We're talking 2 years rent. They get new beds, new furniture, 10 items. They get new linen, cooking equipment, tablets, phones, Wi-Fi. There are 7,500. Less than 200 are housed. 30,000 are still in hotels in Massachusetts. They got 9-year leases. They've signed. Over $2 billion been spent in Mass last year. And they call 911. They call 911 for headaches. And the teachers are leaving the schools down there because they can't take it anymore.
Okay, we gotta go.
Once again, you wasted a perfectly good hour of your life watching this stupid show. So hopefully we'll see you again next year, inshallah. Good Lord willing, the creek don't rise. So until then, get down on your hands and knees in the men-only mosque, sniff the bum of the guy and the man dressed in front of you, head east, and worship the meteorite in Mecca and go, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Akbar.
Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
That's down there already.
Look at that.
Well, once we're after
Pennies on the dollar.
the inauguration.
Getting rid of border.
But it's shocking to me that I saw several articles today, and actually an ad. They're selling these things pennies on the dollar of what the taxpayers pay for. So they're, again, here's an example of them just trying to put us in a bad position and not have that equipment available to us.
I had no choice. My grandfather come down from heaven if I didn't do this. Excuse me, I have a little bit of a cold, and I'm honored. I'm honored to be joined today by leaders of character and conscience.
That ain't no cold, that's a death rattle.
Excuse me, for black women.
Wait.
First of all, wait.
Purpose and integrity. And one hell of a cackle. And she always will. I tell you, you're not going anywhere, kid. Especially not the White House. 'Cause you're lost.
Give me back my slippers. I am the only one that knows how to use them. They're no use to you. Give them back to me. Give them back. Keep tight inside of them. Their magic must be very powerful, or she wouldn't want them so badly. You stay out of this, Glinda, or I'll fix you as well. Oh, rubbish. You have no power here. Be gone before somebody drops a house on you. Very well.